is the thrill of victory and the challenge of defeat. It's his third speech in the storytelling manual, and it's leading towards the ATM goal. His objective is to tell a story based on personal experience for 6 to 8 minutes. Dr. Dan?
Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. I'm a very competitive person, and that was my creed. I don't know where I got it from, because my parents really didn't push winning, so my family was very supportive, and my father always said, you know, make the best of every situation. Then in any challenge and competition, then it's a winning experience. And I kind of roll my eyes and go, okay, Dad, whatever. But I want to win. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, when I was attending college, I belonged to one of the 32 fraternities at Rutgers University. And all the fraternities competed in a series of athletic events and athletic games like soccer and flag football and ultimate frisbee. And the ultimate prize was called the Keller Cup. And the fraternity that won the most events won the Keller Cup and had bragging rights for the whole year. So one of my friends suggested that I try arm wrestling. I worked out in the gym, so I hadn't thought about it, so I challenged a couple of my friends, and surprisingly, I defeated them pretty easily. I had a talent there. But I don't take any challenge lightly. So I approached some other fraternity members that had competed before, and I said, you know, what is the technique about it? What muscles do I have to train? And I learned about arm wrestling, and then I went to the gym and I started working out. I also learned that just like regular wrestling, there's weight divisions. So I dropped 15 pounds in the last 2 weeks to get into a lower weight class. So I had a little bit edge and realized everybody else was doing that. But by the night of the competition, I was mentally and physically prepared to arm wrestle. I was ready to go. And I even brought along a little cheering section, some of my friends, some of my fraternity brothers, they were all there. So I went up, I got right down with the next guy, and we had professional arm wrestling tables. Professional arm wrestlers came by, and they were our referees. Get down there, the first guy, and I was just ready, adrenaline. Damn! Brought him right down. Like, next, let's go. And that felt pretty good. To my chagrin, each successive arm wrestler was a little bit tougher to bring down, but I kept winning. And I made it to the finals. And I was ready for the finals. I had my work cut out for me because I wrestled the toughest guy in my division, and I was the toughest guy there, I guess, because I hadn't suffered a loss at all. But I didn't let my guard down. I focused, and I treated this like it was my first bout. So I walk up onto the stage. I'm all ready. Got my cheering section. I get set up on there. And in arm wrestling, you're kind of fighting for a position to start. And the starting position is real important. When you start, you know, that split second when the whistle blows, you can get the upper hand or get the right position. So I knew that, and my new opponent here knew that too. So we were fighting for position, and we just couldn't agree on a position. So one of those professional arm wrestlers, like 3 times our size, comes over, and he takes a leather strap, and he straps our hands together. There's a movie called Over the Top, which portrays arm wrestling just like that. And it started following just like that. So here we are. On stage, our hands strapped together in a neutral position, staring at each other, and all of a sudden my focus came in and all sounds went away. I mean, there were nobody around me, it was just me and him staring at each other, just waiting for the whistle. And I had that first upper hand, and I started getting him down. He came back a little bit, but he never went back to neutral. As he struggled down, as I got his hand to the pad, the whole place went up in cheers. My arms were up, my friends, fraternity brothers, and even some new fans that I made started cheering on, and the whole room seemed to erupt. That was the last bout. I walked to the edge of the stage, and I got thrown and carried off onto the shoulders of my brothers. So I was the champion that day. I hadn't lost a bout. I got this nice medal and a membership to a gym for a year. The whole next year, I felt like I was a hero. I helped us win the Keller Cup. And arm wrestling came around the next year, and you bet I signed up. I was the undefeated champion. I had to defend my title. So I started training. And some of the younger fraternity brothers, they wanted to compete too. They came up to me and tried to find out how I did what I did. So I started teaching them my winning technique. We went to the gym. I showed them how to work out the muscles they needed to do arm wrestling. We all worked to drop some weight again. So the night of this competition, I was ready. You know, I already knew what to expect, and I was ready to win. I could taste that victory. So I set up my first opponent. I brought him right back down to the table. So, just like last year, this is going to be good. I brought a couple guys down, but you know, victory is a fickle muse. And she kind of abandoned me in the semifinal round. And I thought I had this guy with this long arm, and he started to bring me back the wrong way. And as I started heading back and trying to fight, I realized I wasn't coming back from this kind of defeat. And bam, Marv hit the pad. And then the world went silent. Nothing. My heart dropped. I was defeated. I definitely lost, and I tasted the bitter taste of defeat at that point. I wasn't to be carried off on the shoulders of my peers this time. I wasn't going to receive any accolades. Instead, I received condolences and understanding pats in the back. So I kind of went home by myself that day. No medal to carry around. So the next day, I talked to my father, and he said, you know, son, I know you're upset about losing last night, but it's not the end of the world. You have to make the best of every situation. I was like, Dad, you know, this was terrible, and how can I make the best of this situation? I lost, it's plain and simple. He goes, well, so use everything that you've learned from winning last year and teaching others how to compete this year to shape your personality for the future. You know, he was right. You could take a lesson from a win, you could take a lesson from a loss. His advice was kind of like a dose of medicine. Not the cherry-flavored kind, but the bitter, hard-to-swallow kind. You know, it was hard for me not to wallow in self-pity and self-reproach. However, with time, I was able to see that my focus was too narrow. I had indeed lost, but when I taught my fraternity members how to arm wrestle in competition, I learned the skill of teaching others. And I use this skill today with my patients every day, as far as teaching them how to learn how to live healthy lifestyles and get out of pain and feel well. I learned this to mentor other Toastmasters and to go through their first couple speeches. And so, the second year, I did lose the battle, but I won a war. You know, by focusing on winning, I discounted my efforts, my education, and learning to teach as part of the prize in making the best of every situation. But I still believe that winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. But by focusing on what is truly winning, I found a way to win at everything. Mr. Toastmaster.